What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Fast and Turious. I'm joined today by Matthew Kay, founder of Coleman Rose. It just hit platinum. And one thing to note, this is pretty cool, don't mean a lot that actually do this. They have outcome-based pricing or performance-based pricing in their contracts and are known for we get paid more or we get paid less based on how we actually execute contracts for you. Matthew, welcome to the show. Appreciate you coming.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, man. I always like having these because I think people that start agencies are a little crazy. Not saying you are or not, but I think it's usually fun. How did you end up at a place in life, in a position in life to say, I want to start an agency and I want to start an agency in the HubSpot ecosystem?
Good question. So, for a very long time, I have always wanted to run my own business. And when I left university, I went
very long. You say very long. Like, how long is that? Is that like high?
Well, like probably since I was a teenager, I'd have said.
Oh, wow.
So 20 years at least. And part of that is because, my old man ran businesses. My brother has his own company, and it was always something I wanted to do. I left university, had no idea what I wanted to do really. Ended up getting a job in basically a sales call center. Hated it. Quit after 4 days because I was like, this is not for me. And went self-employed. And I did like website development modules at uni, and I was like, I'll figure that out. And I did it for a couple of years. Felt like I was doing okay, but I felt like.
What did you build your websites on? Was it WordPress at the time?
So originally I was teaching myself, like by hand using Dreamweaver, and then and then I moved to Joomla. I was using.
Okay. Like the OG. It's like back in the day.
Yeah. So I did that for a couple of years. Felt like I wasn't really progressing fast enough in terms of career and stuff. I was fine. Like money was okay, but and I was like, okay, I'm going to go and get a job. And my plan at the time was 2 years agency, 2 years in house, and then go and do my own thing again. And I ended up 11 years into a 4-year journey. Had been at 2 agencies. And the stars aligned at the back end of 2023 to enable me to go and do my own thing. I would argue Coleman Rose is slightly more consultancy than we are agency, but we are probably somewhere in the middle.
This is an interesting topic in general, is what's the difference between an agency and a consultancy? Like when I started Red Partners, I was very anti-agency. I wouldn't use the word. However, the line between those two things is fine. It's like a tightrope. What would you define as, like, when you were starting, you've been in an agency for 11 years in that life in 2 different companies, and you go off to start Coleman Rose in 2023, and you're like, hey, I want to start a consultancy. What's the difference in your mind as you're thinking about this?
Agencies typically do more hands-on stuff, I would say, whereas consultancies are probably a bit more guidance and advice and can give you the frameworks and templates, but it's up to you to execute. And the reason why I say that we are probably somewhere between the two is because some of the services that we offer, we are almost physically unable to actually do the doing unless we were to become like an SDR agency. Whereas some of it, we do end up getting a bit more hands-on. So, which is why we're probably somewhere between the two. I also know what you mean. Like I do kind of feel like agencies sometimes a bit of a dirty word, which I think is a bit unfair. But I don't have anything against agencies. There's just a lot of them. I mean, there's over 100,000 in North America. There's over 7,000 here in the UK. It's a commodity, so you have to find a way to try and differentiate.
Yeah, it's funny as you say. Is you have to find a way to differentiate, and consultancies are those that do less work. I think that's actually a really good thing. And it's funny is do less work and get paid more. It's probably another way to call it consultant. Consultant, you pay a lot of money to do very little, but tell you where.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, hopefully we don't fall in that bucket, but it's like I say, maybe this is a positioning problem for us, but we are somewhere in the middle.
Well, okay. 2023, what was the stars aligning that led you to start, and why did you pick the HubSpot ecosystem?
So the HubSpot ecosystem thing was probably easy. The company that I was at the time didn't have a very good 2023 is the easy answer. And I left that business with some money in my pocket, and I didn't have to worry about whether or not I had 5 clients straight away. So I left that company. And I thought about going to get another job and stuff like that, but I was like, no, this is the best time to go and do it. And with regards to HubSpot, I've been in the ecosystem since before HubSpot had a CRM. I think it was 2012, 2013. So HubSpot at the time, whisper it quietly, was still using Salesforce as their CRM.
Yep.
And I was at a company that when they had the silver tier, we went silver, gold, platinum. Although they went platinum the month after I left. Hopefully that was because of the stuff that I did, not because I left. But then I took HubSpot with me to the new company that I went to. We went diamond in another 2 years, which at the time was one of the fastest companies in the UK to do that. And I was probably the HubSpot advocate at that business. And then when I decided to do growth consultancy for SaaS and service companies, HubSpot was a tenet of that. Admittedly, I went on the provider program, which no longer exists, but that was my focus. So.
Okay, so if you just hit platinum, which is interesting in the HubSpot ecosystem, every tier like platinum of now is diamond of the past, or almost elite, honestly, because it's gotten harder and harder. As we get in, any of these milestones are very, very difficult to hit. And you started at one person in 2023, you and yourself, you, me, and I, a provider. But now you're 3 years into the journey, you're hitting platinum, and you have a team. Where do you sit now? How large is the team? And then we'll go into what are the 3 most difficult things you had to overcome to build a team and get to platinum? Because this is it is not easy building a business.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like it's never been harder to tier up. I'm a bit I've always been a big advocate of the HubSpot partner program in general. I think especially their sales enablement and training in the early days, like in the mid 2010s, was brilliant. Like they were very good at teaching partners how to sell.
Like what was it like? What was it? Growth driven design. They had this whole tenet, and they were teaching.
I mean, that was so that the growth driven design stuff was more related to to website development and stuff like that. But like the academy was one thing, and then they also did some like the sales lion boot camps and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And for me, like the level of time and effort they spent on helping small businesses sell, I think, was very, very good. As they've grown and scaled, as you've said, it's never been harder to tier up. There is a growing obsession, for obvious reasons, with sold MRR, which I think is a bit of a shame. And there've been ways that you can, I suppose, hack the system a bit to try and get more MRR and tier up and all that sort of stuff. But when we went platinum, I wrote in a LinkedIn post, tiering up for us has never been the goal. Like it's a nice badge to have on the website, and it creates a couple more benefits. And would I like to get to diamonds? Yeah. But if we go back down to gold, like that's okay too. For me, the company exists for a couple of reasons. One is to drive business growth for our clients. That's why we do performance-based contracts. Like if we're not doing that, if we're not generating pipeline, if we're not helping that pipeline turn into close one business, what's the point, right? So that's number one. The second one is to enable me and others to live a life that allows them to do the things that they want to do outside of the 9 to 5. I have 2 young children, 6 and 4. Like the company is named after them, so it is hugely important to me to focus on the stuff that actually matters, because we're in a very fortunate position that what we do is not open heart surgery. Like if okay, I want to drive close one and all that sort of stuff, but at the end of the day, it's just marketing, it's just sales, it's not life or death, and I'm keen for people within the business to have a life that enables the work stuff to provide for the stuff that's outside, because that's actually what's important.
I did not know until right now that was named after your children. So it was like first name Coleman.
Yeah, well, it's the 2 middle names of my children pushed together. So yeah.
Okay. Coleman Rose. Yeah. And so when you started in 2023, I mean, you had this idea from the very beginning. So if anything, this hitting platinum and having people come is a reflection of what you built the business for and why you're building.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I was also very lucky that I'd spent 11 years in 2 different companies, and I'd seen lots of very good things in both those organizations, and some not so good things, right? And I think that's no discredit to either of those organizations. They got things far more right than they did wrong, and there will be things that I do and Coleman Rose does that is 100% wrong, and I'll look back with hindsight and be like, oh god, I wish I hadn't done that. But yeah, like the focus of the business is to drive business growth, and that's where we try to focus our time and efforts. That's why we do performance-based contracts, to encourage the right behaviors, to focus on the things that matter.
So question. So how many FTEs or people are part of Coleman Rose today?
4, including me.
Okay.
If things go nicely, we might be 5 before the end of the year, but I don't know.
Okay, so going from one, I'm just thinking about performance-based contracts for a second, right? Like that means you have to have a very high level of quality, which would be more difficult to scale. However, it's a really good line that lets you land contracts, right? I would say like I kind of want to work with you right now. I'm like performance-based contracts. I like that. Outcome-based. We can do this. So, what's been the biggest issues that you've had to overcome, and maybe not issues, but obstacles you've had to overcome to move from
contracts?
No, just in general, like to move from like based on what you're doing from 1 to 4. What's been the three things that have been the most difficult?
I would say based off like having, I mean, I'm now nearly 15 years into like a few different my proper working career. I would say the 2 things I've always found the hardest is, 1, lead and pipeline generation. I would say, generally speaking, we're actually okay for that. Look, we have quiet months, and sometimes I'm like, oh god, we need another lead or 2. But then a couple of weeks will come, and then all of a sudden something will appear, or an outreach message that I've done 4 months ago will just materialize into something, right? I talk about a lot about the 955 rule, and you where only 5% of your audience are ever in market to buy at any one time. More often than not, you can't control when they go from the 95 into the 5, so you just got to be present so that you're one of the people they think of when they do. Anyway, so that's one. The other one is hiring, is people, like finding good people that are a good fit for your organization. And I use that bit at the end very deliberately, because sometimes you can have good people, great people, that just don't fit in that company for whatever reason, because maybe they're not they've got something going on in their personal life, or the company just doesn't fit them, or maybe they're in the wrong role. Actually, maybe they're trying to be a marketer, but they should have been an accountant, like, those sorts of things.
So question as you go with your 3 is just to, before we get too much into it, I want to do like lead. You said one obstacle is leads and getting demand. How do you solve that, especially when you have to deliver and you're still in the place where you both have to sell and you have to deliver? There's demand, there's capacity. How have you, as you've grown, that's been an obstacle, where do you spend your time today? Like, how are you thinking about that? How did you think about, and how did you get over the hump?
Good question. So I think I would say that we'll probably never get over that hump. And because we will always have to, because we are a commodity. Like, what we do, there are just thousands of other options out there. So I think we always have to work at it. I think we just have to, me personally, I have to balance my time between it. The way that we try to do our new business generation is very, I don't love this phrase, but it's not a bad one given the context of the call, like warm bound. Like, trying to build relationships, networks, asking for introductions. A lot of what we do is to try and offer value first. And then when the timing's right, say, hey, how can we get on the shortlist of potential suppliers if and when the time is right? And sometimes we time it right. And sometimes they say, naturally, we're okay for now. And then they come back in 3, 6, 9, 12, 24 months time. Also semi-distributed within the team. So again, to come around to the people thing, the 3 people that we have hired have all been, 2 of them in particular, it's not their first rodeo. They're not first jobs out of uni. Both of them, they are very experienced and are very, very good at what they do. And as a consequence of that, some of that new business generation activity, some of the campaigns we run is their campaigns to run. So.
Okay, so just put this as I'm hearing you say some of these principles are. It sounds like you always do demand gen, new gen. You're always working on it in some way. It may be LinkedIn post, it may be just outreach, but it's just a part of what you do in your daily. And it's like because you know that I need this and I don't stop it, even if it takes away from some of the capacity. It's like you have to do it as part of it.
Yeah.
Number 2, the thing about hiring people as you're getting over that is you've gone for, I'm going to hire individuals with more experience, and then maybe perhaps an agency setting, perhaps in-house, but I'm doing a little bit more experience with an expectation that, hey, we're doing warm bound, which means you're going to be putting points of view in places. You're going to be sending emails to places as part in some way as part of the job in some way.
Yeah.
So how you're managing that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big proponent of surround bound. I mean, I call surround bound. So like, I get it. I love it. And I think one of the issues that agency founders, it's so easy to fall into is to stop doing lead gen, to focus on capacity. And then it becomes a vicious cycle.
It's super hard. And I think that, like, in my opinion, the actual biggest growth driver typically is client retention. Like, I think it depends on the type of the business that you run, right? But 90% of our contracts are retained. And so our number one priority should be and is delivering on them, because if you never lose a client, you'll grow, because you'll get referrals and you'll get introductions from those clients and stuff like that. So that's our number one priority. Having said that, I have no aspirations to build a 50, 100 person company. Maybe in the future when my kids are a bit older and they want less to do with me, I might find that ambition. But for now, I want to be home. I do the school runs. I want to be home for their dinner time and all that sort of stuff. And I can figure that out. That growth at all cost stuff in the future. I think focusing on client delivery is absolutely paramount, because that leads to the referrals, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't just not think about the business development stuff too.
Which I can go to number 3, 4. It seems to be you've built into the DNA of Coleman Rose we're going to do our absolute best. We're not going to. I like to say something. I've said this in the past, at least I've heard this, which is don't give your all, give your best. And so, like, I'm not going to give everything to grow this company. I'll give my best within these constraints. I'll give my best, but if it doesn't, whatever manifests, right? Whatever happens.
Yeah.
It seems like just has that as the obstacle being, hey, I want to spend time with my children, and I want to spend time with my wife, or my loved ones, in some way, my partners. Has that been an obstacle to growth in any way? And has it been worth it? Like, just as you're thinking about that, or has it actually been?
Yeah, it's don't get me wrong. Like, it's super stressful. Like, today, I'll give you an example. Today, it's summer over here at the moment, and the kids aren't in school, so we've got people looking after the children and stuff like that. And then this morning they said, "Oh, we can't pick them up at the time that we said. Can you come and get them earlier?" So then I have to like rearrange my day around them, which is fine, but it doesn't mean that it's not hard. Like it's stressful at times, but I think the payoff. I think the payoff is worth it. Like I one of the best pieces of advice I ever had before my first was born was from a bunch of men in their 50s and 60s, and they said, if I could go back in time, the one thing I'd do is work less when they were young. And I know when I'm in my 50s and 60s, I'll say I'll be annoyed that I got annoyed with them for trying to kick them out of the house at 8 o'clock in the morning to try and get them on the school run, not that I missed dinner or breakfast or something like that. And I think that's the right thing to be annoyed at if you're going to be annoyed at something.
I think it's good advice. That's what I try to do as well. It's interesting. I got a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old right now. That causes all these same things. Okay, Matthew, let's say I talk to you in a year. Talk to you in a year from now. What's the one big thing? We're in the summer of 2027. Is there any big thing you would like to have done with the company or in life by then when I'm talking to you? Like what's a professional goal that you're trying to do?
Not lost a client in the next 12 months.
Wow. Is that realistic? Like, is that something that you'll
have at the start of this year? Yeah, we don't want to lose a client. Like, I think that goals should be deliberately hard, right? You know, but this is difficult, and you know, I mean, with AI and everything else going on in the world and economic uncertainty, like that's a massive challenge. But if we've not lost a client in the next 12 months, we're in a wonderful spot. And the good thing is, to be fair, like, you know, we lost one in June, and then 3 days later they wrote us within a week or two, they wrote us a really glowing review on our Google Plus page, Google My Business page. And so we lost them not because of our bad performance, but because of factors that were beyond our control. If that happens, I would be happy. I'll be ecstatic if we don't lose any at all. So,
well, I like it. I will check back. I will find out how many have we been able to do it. Matthew, this is the last question. I like to end with this with people. What's one thing you've been doing this for 3 years now? What's one thing you wish what's one thing you'll never do again that you've done in the past?
Oh man. I would say it's very hard to say that I'll never do this again, but I would say that sometimes and this hasn't happened here, I would say this is from previous companies, sometimes people don't work out in an organization for whatever reason. I would say just don't be afraid to make that difficult decision, because sometimes it benefits them as much as it does. I would say that, you know, if things aren't working out, don't be afraid to make the difficult decision, you know, that you don't really want to make. But I can't say that I'd never do that again, because it's easy to say that with hindsight. So
it is easy. It is. Life makes sense when you look at it backwards, but it doesn't always make sense when you're in the moment. So it's one of those very difficult things to do. Matthew, appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. I think this is fun. If anybody wants to chat with you about how the heck you operationalized performance-based contracts, where can they find you? What's the best way of getting a hold of you?
LinkedIn. I post 3 times a week. You can search for me on there, and occasionally I talk about our performance-based contract stuff. Like it's probably not as operationally hard as you think it is. I would say it's a hurdle. If people are interested in doing it and want to do it, I would say it's more of a mental thing to get over. You know, so but it's in my opinion, it's the right thing to do. So.
Well, I'm impressed. I want to learn more. So this is just interesting in general. But hey, Matthew, appreciate the time. Thank you and congrats on hitting platinum. Congrats on like building a business with people, and that's a hard thing to do. So appreciate your time. Thank you for talking about the journey, man.
Thanks, dude. Thank you for inviting me on.
Okay, stay awesome, everybody. Never, ever, ever stop believing. Adios.